So today we'll be discussing teamwork. But what happens when that team turns out to not be so much of a dream? We'll be discussing it coming up next. Hello everyone and welcome to the Business of Soul. I am your host, Dr. Melody, and I am here with my lovely co-host today,
Miss Gloria.
So how you doing, Mel? Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back in my seat.
I'm glad to have you here. So today we are talking about partnerships. Now, with partnerships, we are discussing how to make sure you are in the right partnership. Okay, so I kind of discussed before when I was sitting here by myself about being alone and working alone, right? So today I really had it on my heart and mind to talk about partnerships and how important it is to make sure that you are going into business with the right person. It is very crucial for your business, for your sustainability, for your growth, for your success. If you go into partnership with someone, with business, you have to make sure that it's the right partner, okay? So I was going to talk about another topic today, but I really wanted to touch on this because a lot of times we may start a business and let's say we have a friend, or it could be a family member, a spouse, anyone really, and we're like, okay, I'm going to this business, you want to do this with me or whatever, but not really fully thinking it out as far as, okay, is this the right person for that job?
Right.
And sometimes we just look at the people closest to us and we're like, okay, well, I need somebody, would you be willing to do it? And what happens is we find ourselves in situations that we really don't want to find ourselves in. Because with business, it is a lot of work, it is hard, it is difficult. And if you have partners who are not on the same page, it can cause you more problems than you really need to have. So like myself, when I started 321 Sun, well, really even prior to that, I always had my mother helping me with things. But I know her work ethic. It's not just because she's my mom. Now, if she were different, then I would not associate her with things that I'm doing because it's just going to make it harder for me. Right. But being that I've always seen her work ethic, I've learned a lot of stuff from her about organization and business. So she always was somebody who I wanted to have with me because I knew I didn't have to worry about certain things. We can't just look at people and be like, oh, well, you're my best friend, or, you're my sister, or whatever, just because of the relationship, and think that they're going to be a good fit for whatever you're doing. And I see people all the time who are going through problems because of relationships and meshing that with business. If that person is not doing the job that they're supposed to do, if you don't have the same work ethic, if you're not, on the same page with business, have the same goals, you know what I'm saying? Then it's just not going to work.
It's not going to work. You have to get somebody that really competitive to you. Somebody going to work just as hard as you. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's not going to make decisions without, sitting down, discussing it with you. Mm-hmm. And that's what you got to do. That way you already know what to expect of him. That person already know what to expect of you because you done discussed it.
Right. That's a good point. Like when you said about being competitive, I like that because you can have a healthy competition with each other, and not saying that you're working against each other, but you're both working hard in whatever your roles are. It's like, look, I'm shining on my end, you shining on your end, but we both, working on a common goal, which is that business. So I like that. And when you have people, like you also said about communication.
Right.
Communication is key in business when you have partners. You can't have one person over here just doing whatever they're doing. They're not telling you what they doing. You over here doing what you doing or whatever. Y'all never come together and communicate with each other and discuss what you're supposed to be doing and what are your goals or how you're moving forward. Then you don't really know what's going on fully with your business. You know, you don't have a full scope or picture of what's really going on. You just have this small view of just what you're dealing with and what you're doing. You know, so that's why I want you guys to really think twice and think hard and long when you are dealing with business and deciding, okay, who am I going to bring along with me on this journey? Who's going to help me to really fulfill these goals and really help me to make this thing successful? You know, because everybody doesn't work the same. And so sometimes people get into partnerships and then that's when they really realize what they're dealing with. You know,
you find out you get a big surprise blow it in your face because they didn't sit down and discuss it with you. They just went on their own and did, made the decision, did whatever they wanted to do without discussing it with you, and then you get this big surprise blow it in your face,
Yeah, so we don't need those type of surprises because we want to be on top of things. So when we put things in other people's hands for them to deal with and for them to manage, then we want to have that security. Like, we want to feel comfortable knowing that, hey, I know that they're doing their part, I'm doing my part. You know, because if either party, you know, depending on how many partners you have, is not doing their part, the whole thing crumbles. You know, you become susceptible to defeat, to failure, because it's like having a weak point in your business, and so you don't have a strong foundation. You know, and another thing with business and partners is that sometimes people don't want to take direction. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes people, like, let's say if your role is a certain role and let's say you have to kind of delegate things to other partners, sometimes other partners feel like, well, hey, look, I don't want to follow what you're saying, or I don't have to listen to what you're saying. And that just works against the whole business.
Yes, and that's not good partnership.
Absolutely not. Because you have to know your roles and you have to understand each other's jobs within that business. You know, that person may have to tell me how to do certain things for my job to run smoothly and for me to be able to complete my portion of what I need to do, and vice versa. So that person can't feel like they can do your part or tell you what to do with what you have to do, and you can't feel like you can tell them what to do with what they have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be a mutual respect. You know, if I tell you this needs to be done and this is what, you know, is going to help our business, or this is what is needed for our business, and that is your role, whatever that is that needs to be done, then you need to do it. Don't go back and forth with that person and now you're looking at it like they're trying to boss you around or whatever, because you're losing sight of the main goal, which is the success of the business.
And the thing it is not that you're trying to boss a person around. It's the thing it is, if we in partnership, I can't have you over there running doing this here and I don't know nothing about it, because we have to have that, you know, communication in order to be able to be successful. Because if we both not on the same page and I don't know what you're doing and you don't know what I'm doing, something gonna fall in the middle.
And that's exactly what happens. You know, you wind up losing money, you can wind up losing customers, clients, whatever it is, you know, and you can fall into certain liabilities, having problems with certain things, with the structure of your business not being the way that it's supposed to be. You know, it's so many different things that I could name that could go wrong with business just from having that lack of communication and that lack of mutual respect for each other as business partners. You know, sometimes people want to be the head chief, so to speak, but the other person or the other party, they know better than you, or they have more knowledge than you in certain areas.
Right.
That's the beauty of partnership.
It is.
You know,
very much the beauty of partnership.
You know, you're knowledgeable in this role, and I'm knowledgeable
Right.
in this faction over here, and it's like, hey, let's bring our knowledge together, and we can make this thing happen.
Yeah.
But then when I try to tell you what needs to go on for, the part that I know, you don't want to follow suit. And that's what makes things not work.
Yeah.
And a lot of businesses fail because of that, because it's like too many chefs in the kitchen, or too many chiefs on the field. When we have our roles, there are times when I'm gonna be the one who's going to kind of like run things, and then there are gonna be times when the other person is gonna run things,
right.
depending on what needs to be done, and what roles or what jobs we actually cover underneath that business. So when you go into partnership, you have to realize that you have to also be able to be a good listener.
Yes. Right.
Not just somebody who just give orders.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good listener. Because if you have a really good partner in business, then you ought to be able to listen to them. You should want to listen to them when they tell you, hey, look, I'm giving you a heads up on this. We need to do X, Y, and Z or whatever. You can't look at it and then be like, well, they don't know what they're talking about, but you don't know their role. You don't deal with what their expertise is, so to speak.
Right.
So when you go into these partnerships, make sure that you're also willing to take direction.
Right.
Not just give, orders or direction to other people, because it's a give and take. And that is the beauty of partnership, because I can depend on you to get certain things done, and you can depend on me.
Right.
And when you have that balance,
Right.
you have a success.
Right. You're building a beautiful business.
Exactly.
But the thing it is too, you can't, like I say, you have to be on the same page with me.
Yeah.
If we are not on the same page, or we out here debating each other.
Yep.
If you want to debate me, see, partnership, you're not supposed to be debating. You're supposed to be on that same page.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line, and that's what's gonna make it work.
Exactly.
You do what I ask you to do, and if you need me to do something, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get it done,
Yeah.
and that way we working together.
Right. And see, if you're doing everything on your end, let's say you getting everything complete on your end, you completing your jobs, you completing your tasks, but then you have partners who are not completing their part. It's gonna make your job 10 times harder.
Oh, yes.
It's gonna, like she said, with debates, now you're debating with each other.
Yeah.
Now you can't move forward the
Yeah.
right way. It creates all kind of
Problems.
all kind of problems, but all kind of unnecessary stress.
Right, exactly.
And business is hard enough, it's tough enough, then to now be in partnership with people, and now you have to be stressed out because
Right.
somebody doesn't want to do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Don't get into business if you don't want to do the job that business calls for. If you're not gonna do it right, don't do it at all.
Right.
And that is my philosophy with business, really with anything. If you're not gonna do it right, don't do it at all. Why bother? Especially with business, because now you're losing.
That's right.
And nobody gets into business to want to be a loser.
Right.
I'm just
right.
being 100 real
That's
with you.
right.
So that's why it's very important to make sure that you're going into business with the right people. Don't just be so caught up into wanting to do something so badly that you're just willing to take anybody on.
Right.
Because your dream can become a nightmare.
Oh, yes, it can.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, it can. Everything that you work hard, and on your end that you put that work in, you put those hours in, it can go down the toilet just like that.
Yeah, you putting in all this effort, and the other party is all lackadaisical. They are just, they're not really focused on the total sum of what they're supposed to be doing. They might be really good at some parts of their job, but they're not good at their total job. So that's gonna create problems.
Yes.
So you wanna really make sure that before you take those steps on that entrepreneurial journey of starting that business, that if you are going into a partnership, that you are really dealing with somebody who's on the same page, who's going to work just as hard as you, but also who want it to run right just as much as you do.
Yeah.
Not being comfortable with having certain things half done or leaving certain tasks undone. Not a person don't deal with people like that with business, because I'm telling you, it's going to give you headaches.
Yes, it is.
So with business, and first of all, like I said before, it's already difficult. So we want to make things as easy as possible, and one of the best ways to make things so much easier for you is when you do have good partners.
Oh yeah.
It's just like when you have employees. If you have great employees in your business, it makes it so much easier for you, because you can have that peace of mind, knowing that those tasks are getting done. Whatever role it is that people are having in your business, whether it's partnership or somebody just working for you or whatever, because that's also, in a sense, a partnership.
Right, it makes your job easy.
Yes.
In a sense, it does make your job easy, because then you could go and do other things that they can't do.
Right. Yeah, you can
sense.
focus on other tasks and everything. Yeah, you can get so much more done because you have that comfortability, or that sense knowing that whatever needs to be done, they're handling it.
Right.
So you don't have to look over their shoulders.
Right.
You don't have to hound them down and make sure that they're doing it.
Right.
And that's the bad thing too. Like if you're in partnerships and you have to constantly check on somebody. Did you do this? Did you do that?
Yeah.
Remember I told you need to do this.
Yeah.
You need to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in partnership with people like that, because it's going to make your job so hard. And then it's like the thing that you love doing so much, you can't even have the enjoyment of it. All you dealing with is constant stress.
Yeah.
Because now you're not only just trying to manage what you have to do, you're trying to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right, and you're also trying to make sure that they don't put you in a hole.
That's
Right.
Right.
The old saying is, if you got two people and they go in partnership together, all right, just say, I'm greedy for it, and you relax.
Yeah.
We both got to be greedy.
Yeah.
Two greedy people gonna make it work.
Yes.
But if you relax and you just so nonchalant about it, ain't nothing gonna get done.
Nothing gonna get done. So you're not gonna have that balance, because both of us don't have that same hunger,
Right.
for actually making this business a success.
That's right.
Everybody goes into business for different reasons. The ultimate goal is to be successful, but some people go into business to look a certain way.
Yeah, that's true.
To look big,
Yeah.
to feel big, to have people to see them in a certain light, and all of that. And some people like me, they go into business because it's solely because of, this is what I love to do, but I want to make this as great as possible. I want to make it a success. I could care less about how I look as far as to the world, or how big. I could be a small fry and still be happy and successful.
That's right.
So everybody has different reasons for why they step into those roles. But if you're dealing with somebody who has a different idea of why they're dealing with business, or what their main goal is, if y'all don't have the same goals, like she said, y'all both on the same page with things, y'all both are hungry for the same things, then it's not going to work. So make sure you're having those talks and discussions. Make sure you really don't just look at a person because, I love this person, she's a great friend, or he's a great guy, he's really nice, or that's my mother, or that's my father, that's my sister or brother. Don't do it just because of that.
It's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. Don't try to get your little cousin JoJo to come do business business with you because you feel like JoJo needs something to do, but JoJo never wanted to work a day in his life. And you know what I'm saying?
And you know what to expect with JoJo. JoJo gonna get relaxed.
Right. So JoJo gonna come in there and put his feet up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to deal with JoJo. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gonna have an added problem to already the difficult tasks that you're already gonna face. Because with business, you have a lot of challenges. It's a lot of challenges. It's a lot of tasks that you have to stay on top of. It's a lot of requirements.
Yes.
You know, so especially like the more you grow with things, it's a lot more accountability that you have, a lot more responsibility. Now you got JoJo over here, he ain't doing nothing.
Nothing.
You know, now you gotta be fussing with JoJo and stuff like that and you know, and all of that, and now you gotta be trying to figure out what can you do as far as the task that he's supposed to be dealing with. Now you might be trying to do that too.
Right.
Now you got too much of work on you.
Right, exactly.
You know, you're not gonna grow like that. You're not gonna sustain like that. You're not gonna make it.
No, you're not gonna make it. You have to make sure you don't have a JoJo.
You don't have a JoJo.
Don't have a JoJo if you're going into partnership with
Right.
somebody.
You know, and no offense to anybody who named JoJo. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's just JoJo.
Made that up. But for real though, y'all really have to look at people for who they really are. Are they good with money?
Right.
Because if you got a person who spend all the time, don't know how to save, you never see them with a nickel in their pocket, you always see them begging for something or they scrapping and scratching for something, you know what I'm saying? That's most likely not the person that you want to go in business with. Now, I'm not talking about somebody who is a hardworking person and maybe they just don't have enough finances to cover things, you know, they working paycheck to pay, whatever. But I'm talking about people who just let money just run through their hands like water. You do not want to go into business with people like that. And you also have to make sure it's somebody who you can trust.
Oh, yeah.
Because with business, now you have money coming in, you have to make sure that you ain't got to worry about somebody, you know, stealing money.
Right. Exactly.
Different things like that. You could be a type of business that sells certain products. Now you wondering, well, where all the products going?
Right.
You know, because they done took it out the store or whatever, or they selling it on the side.
You know, it's all kind of ways that a person, your partner or your employee can bring your business down.
Yes.
It's a lot of ways. Even if you have an employee and they can't take orders from you and they don't listen to what you say, you know, that's a bad rap on your business as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, that's a good point because that gives you a bad reputation.
Yes.
You know, so then you could lose customers and clients just from having poor employees.
That's right.
You know, so it doesn't have to just be like people who you actually decide to go into partnership with, but your employees, in a sense, are partners as well in a different sense.
Right.
Because they are representing your business.
Right, exactly.
So if it's not represented well, no matter if it's you or somebody you partner with or an employee or whoever, it still looks bad on your company.
Right. And your employee has to be just as professional as you are.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have to really examine who you're bringing into your business, who you're going into business with. Don't worry about what the relationship is with you guys. Really, with business, it's business, not personal.
Right.
So you don't want to get that confused. Because when we're dealing with business, it's business. Now, personal time is personal. You know, because if you lead with the personal, the relational side, you're always going to put the business that you should be focused on the back burner. That's going to come second to the relationship. The business has to come first when it comes to business. You know, and that's just the bottom line. So, you know, I'm not going to keep this episode too long, but we will be back for next week. And I hope you guys got something out of this episode. But I am Melody.
I'm Miss Glory.
And this is the Business of Soul. Bye, guys.